everybody. Welcome to our 10 for 10 body weight challenge. My name is Ellen, and I am going to demonstrate each movement for you. We are so excited that you're joining this challenge. This is to help us with setting short-term goals, doing a little bit of movement every day, the same exact exercises so that you can hopefully see some improvement at the end of this challenge. January 10th to the 21st, and the weekends are going to be your rest days. So you're going to do these 10 body weight exercises for 10 repetitions every single day for 10 days straight. And hopefully by the end of this challenge, you're going to feel stronger, successful, and accomplished. And we do body weight because it's very functional, and it's important for us to be able to push ourselves up, pull ourselves up in everyday life. And that is why we decided to do body weight. So I'm going to show you each exercise, and there are alternatives and modifications for them as well. So I'll show you how to decrease the intensity a little bit of the exercise, and then also increase the intensity if that is what you're looking to do. Whatever variation you choose to do, make sure you do that every single day so that you keep it the same, and then that way you can measure your progress and see how you've improved by keeping that exercise the same. So our first one is a squat. This is lower body strength. Your squat, you're going to start with your feet about hip distance. Think of just sitting down into your chair and then standing back up. I'll show you a couple different views here. With your squat, your hips go back and your chest stays up. Side view, dropping back, lifting up. So you want to be able to wiggle your toes while you're down in that squat position. All of your weight is going back into your glutes and your hips. So if you wanted to bump up the intensity, you can make this into a squat jump. Come down and jump. So much harder, also high impact, so just be mindful of that option. Another alternative or modification that you could do would be just simply grabbing your chair, sitting down and standing back up. So down and up, which is essentially what a squat is. So we do squats every day, multiple times a day. You should never feel any pain in your knees with the squat. If you are, then perhaps the form is a little off. So do make sure that you copy and mimic what I just did for the squat. Okay, our next one is upper body strength. And we're gonna do push-ups. Keep this chair handy. So push-ups are super important, and we're not going to change this exercise at all, except for where you place your hands. So typically we do them flat on the ground. We can also do them on an elevated surface. So I'll first show you the push-up on the floor. I do these on my knees just to give extra support for my low back. So knees or toes. And you want to place your hands about shoulder distance. I always say thumbs inside the armpit. And on your inhale, you tuck those hips under a little bit. On your inhale, you're going to lower your chest to the floor, and then exhale, push back up. So down and up while keeping a nice flat back. And you want to imagine that you're making the letter A with your arms. So from one elbow all the way to the top of your head down to the other elbow, you're making the letter A shape. So our elbows don't go out here, but rather right here. Okay, so not going to give an option of a chest press, which sometimes I do in class. I really want you to practice and work on your push-ups. So the way to decrease intensity is just switching up the angle at which we push our body weight. If it's flat or a decline, we're going to have more of our weight to push up, and that's what makes it hard. So if you have it at an incline, slightly elevated, it's going to make this less intense. So you could do your push-up on a chair, on a bench, or even on a countertop. So if you had a counter at about maybe hip level or a little higher, come down for your push-up and then come back up. I'm going to demonstrate with this bench. A chair is also helpful. Just make sure it's sturdy. And then once you perfect your push-up in the elevated position, then you start to lower down in increments, and then you'll be able to do it flat. So start here. So it's the exact same movement. I'm just starting up a little bit higher, which is going to make it feel a lot less challenging. So I'm here, gonna lower down into my push-up, and then come back up. Again, elbows back, inhale, and exhale. So if you're not sure, a great place to start would be a countertop. Again, just make sure it is sturdy. Okay, number 3 is cardio. These are jumping jacks, just as they sound. Arms up, feet come out. Low impact option, you tap. So you'll notice as you go through these exercises that some take only a few seconds to do and others can take up to a minute or 2. Number 4 is going to be back to lower body strength. We are doing lunges, 10 on each side. So this is really important, the form and how we set it for the lunge. Start with your feet together. You're going to take sort of a medium step back. If you want less intensity, make that space a little bit smaller. If you want more, make it bigger. You drop down and then come back up. So what we're looking for is a nice 90-degree angle with the legs. And you want to drop your hips straight down into the floor, making sure that you have the same amount of weight in your front leg as your left. Shoulders are stacked right on top of those hips. So down and up, down and up. Again, you're going straight down into the floor rather than leaning forward or back. Should not feel any of this in your knees either. Now, if this is really just too much for you, another alternative would be a single leg bridge. And we'll get to bridges in just a moment. Now, if you want to increase the intensity, what do we do? Add a jump. So you can do a jump lunge or even a pulse. Again, you choose whatever you do the first day. I want you to do that for all 10 days. So you keep it the same. Okay, next one, let me just look at the list here. The next one is back extensions, that's right. So back to upper body strength, but also some core, but it's the back side of our core. So these are also known as Superman, Superwoman, or hyperextension. You're gonna do this flat on the ground, on your chest and belly. We're extending our back. Our legs are about hip distance. You can have arms overhead, or for those with sensitive shoulders, elbows down towards your sides and hands by your shoulders. Nose to the mat. As you inhale, lift everything off the floor, legs are straight. Exhale, lower. Lift and lower. You want to lift everything off the mat, and you want that movement to come from your glutes. Keep your legs nice and straight. We're not really upping the intensity with this. It's just such an important exercise, so just stick with it as it is. And that modification for sensitive shoulders, bringing the elbows down. So those are your back extensions. Then we come to a little bit of balance and mobility with our next one. Single leg balance, 2 knee lift. So if you're familiar with yoga, we can also call it a warrior 3 pose. So this is the knee lift. Bring one knee up, and I do hands in prayer, or at my chest, and maybe fingers interlaced, whichever. So knee lift, and then I'm gonna hinge forward at my hips, keep my back flat, and extend through that leg, press through that heel, and get it nice and straight. Sort of like a pendulum. I'm gonna come right back up on my exhale. Inhale, I'm going to extend, nice straight leg, falling over a little bit, and exhale. So this one is tricky. Couple things here. You could do it close to a wall, so you have that for balance. So one hand there, until you perfect it and become a little more stable on your leg. Another option is just extending that leg a couple inches off the floor. So we start here, you hinge, and maybe your balance is right there. So it really doesn't matter how high that leg is, just as long as the balance is a challenge for you. And what you're gonna feel is your standing leg. You're gonna feel those glutes on fire because we're doing 10 on each side. So this one is obviously gonna take a little bit longer than say your 10 jumping jacks. We've got single leg, and it's just a slower movement in general. So you wanna feel those glutes with this exercise. Okay, if you want that a little bit more challenging, forgot to show that, you can add a hop to it. So you do your balance, you extend that leg. As the knee comes up, add a hop. Take it out, hop. So that's your alternative for that one. Our next exercise is back to upper body strength. Sort of see a pattern here. We're gonna do tricep dips. I do not want you to do them on the floor. The range of motion is really limited when you're down on the floor doing them, like in a crab position. So I want you to find a secure chair or bench. All right, so sort of similar to push-ups, we're working upper body, but we're mainly targeting the triceps. So you want those hands right underneath your shoulders. You're gonna slide just barely off that chair or bench. And as you inhale, you're gonna bend the elbows straight back. You're gonna lower those hips, come to about 90, maybe not quite, that's okay. And then exhale, come back up. So inhale and exhale, you're dropping the hips. Okay, so we don't want this motion to happen. See how I'm not really bending my elbows? Similar to the lunge. I want you to go straight down to the floor. It doesn't have to be all the way, but that's the motion. Maybe it's just right there. But the elbows have to go straight back to target the triceps and shoulders. Okay, so you keep those knees bent to make it less challenging, more challenging, legs straight, because now we're at a different angle. It's just more of your body weight, and that makes it harder. Another alternative, since we're talking about yoga poses, is doing a chaturanga, or what's also called a tricep push-up. So you could do that on the floor or elevated. It's very similar to the dip, just putting our body in a different position. So in yoga, this is your chaturanga. You usually go from a down dog position, and then this is your chaturanga. You lower. So you could do that on your toes or on your knees. So you lower and you lift. This is definitely more challenging than just a tricep dip. Again, it's the angle of our body, and so it's where the weight is that we're pushing away or pulling away, okay? Our next one, we're taking it to lower body, I believe. Yep, lower body and core. These are bridges. So you're down on your back, your feet are about hip distance, your hands are down by your side, your feet are just about underneath those knees, and you're gonna peel your spine off the mat, lifting those hips up into the air, and you're gonna slowly come back down. This is called a bridge. Lift and lower. If you want to make this more challenging, you could have your feet on a bench or something slightly elevated, and that's gonna be a little bit more work for your glutes and hamstrings. Another option to make it more challenging is single leg. So we do 10 total. So if you want to try single leg, you would do 5 on each side. This is much harder because you are only balancing and lifting your whole body weight or your lower half with just one leg as opposed to 2. So you just want to keep those hips level if you're doing single leg. You're going to really feel those hamstrings and glutes for that one. That's your bridge. Okay, we're almost done. Our next one, we got last 2. So we have core for our next one. These are called spider planks because it looks like you're sort of moving like a spider would. So you're gonna do them in a plank position. Now up to you if you wanna do forearms, elbows, or up on your wrists. I'll show you both. Now this is 10 total, so 5 per side. First one is on your forearms. You bring your right knee to right elbow. Spider plank. So working the obliques there. Okay, so that one's probably gonna be a little more challenging than up on your hands. Up on your hands is gonna give you a little more mobility though. But same movement, right? So you just wanna make sure those hands are right under your shoulders. Take this one slow, okay? And if you want a little more core firing, on the floor on your forearms. Now I could do that same position, but elevate it like we discussed earlier with those push-ups. So I could do it right here. So sensitive neck and shoulders, and even wrists, this is a great option. Woo! I'm still feeling that core. Same position, just slightly elevated, so it's just a little bit better on my joints. Now, if that's too challenging for you, there's a standing option. And I love taking this one. Arms out in front. I'm gonna pull that right elbow to my right knee. So we get to practice a little bit of balance. And then there's no weight, no pressure on our upper body at all. So lots of options. If you want to make it harder, you could double it up, maybe do 10 on each side, hold a plank for an extra 10 seconds at the end. We wouldn't want to add any kind of jumping there because our last exercise is a burpee. So this is your all out, every muscle group cardio working. So this is your traditional burpee with the jump. You have the jump up here, hands down, jump, come back, repeat. Okay, so the low impact option is taking out that jump. Lift, hands down, step back. One more time. Another great option that I like to do is using an elevated surface, bench or a sturdy chair, right? A completely different option altogether, but still we're working the same muscles. Is going to be a front kick with a punch, opposite arm and leg. Punch, punch. So a great way to still get that burpee motion, right here and here, kicking out. Similar motion, just standing. So here, you would do right, left, 1, 10 total. So you would do 1, kick, 2, 3, so on and so forth. And then you don't even have to worry about getting to the floor. That's the hardest part of a burpee, even if it's low impact. If you're having some low back issues, or maybe just recovering from an injury, anything like that can bother your low back. So be mindful, take what modification works for you. And that is it. Email me after you have completed every day. Remember, it's 10 reps of each exercise every day. I know that's 100 reps every day, but I just did it about an hour ago and it was less than 10 minutes. So think of it as a mini workout. Email me after you've done it every single day. I'll check in halfway through the program. And then next Friday at the end, the 21st, we're gonna do it all together over another Zoom session and see how you're feeling. So email me if you have any questions, and good luck and have fun.